Good afternoon, everybody. This is Adrienne Montgomery with ERPVAR. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to be talking about Sage 100 Cloud and automated inventory cycle count, shipping, and payment processing. Today, we're joined by Simon Quinn over at CertiPro Solutions, Matt St. John over at StarShip, and Patricia Garay over at APS Merchants, soon to be APS Payments. They're going through an exciting name change and rebranding. And we'll touch a little bit on that. Just a couple items about the companies. CertiPro Solutions is based in Los Angeles, and they have a team of Sage certified developers, consultants, technicians, CPAs. They have over 20 years of expertise in enhancing Sage 100, and they are dedicated to the best solutions and with the right software programs that can design unique solutions for your business, whatever your unique requirements are. And we're also joined by StarShip. StarShip is a Sage Gold development partner. They specialize in integrated shipping solutions. They have extensive knowledge of the full spectrum of Sage products, Sage 100, Sage 500, Sage X3, and they have many strong relationships with other Sage ISVs that are relevant to shipping, like inventory management solutions with Scanco and Scanforce, EDI solutions like True Commerce and SPS Commerce, many of those integrated solutions with StarShip. And we're also joined by APS Payments. They were formerly known as APS Merchants, exciting name change rebranding going on there. They have many different industries that they represent with their merchant processing solution. They have distribution, retail, manufacturing companies, as well as restaurant, hospitality, and software companies throughout the United States and Canada. And they serve thousands of small, medium, and large organizations. And just a little bit about the workflow. We're going to be talking about how Simon's CertiPro solution automates the inventory cycle count. It manages inventory items life cycle, helps optimize your inventory. And we're going to talk about StarShip, how StarShip will take all the details of a shipment and understand which carrier to assign to that shipment based on the customer location, the cost of shipping, the dimensional weight of the package, and so forth. So it helps you eliminate that manual rekeying of that shipping data, and it just makes you more efficient and saves costs. We're going to talk about Patricia's click-to-pay solution with APS Payments, fully integrated into Sage 100, and how that helps you lower credit card processing rates with level 3 credit card processing. It takes all the data of the customer, serves that up to the credit card processing companies to get you the lowest rate with more data from Sage 100. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Simon. He's going to kick it off for us here with automated inventory cycle count and CertiPro. Thank you, Simon.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us today. My name is Simon Quinn. I'm the Director of Sales at CertiPro Solutions, and today I'm going to cover our automated inventory cycle count. So I'm going to show you how our automated inventory cycle count, or AICC, if you will allow you to simplify your inventory counts. So I'm going to give you an overview of the concept, and then I'll jump into Sage and show you the functionality. And then lastly, I'll wrap up with showing you some of the reporting. So using cycle counting to maintain high levels of accuracy is, as we know, one of the best ways to identify problem areas. An effective cycle counting program like CertiPro's AICC eliminates the need for physical inventory expenses. So by performing regular cycle counts, you give yourself an opportunity to compare the quantities in Sage to the quantities counted. And this variance is a powerful opportunity to identify where your inventory system is working well, where there's low variance, and where you may have a control issue that needs to be tightened up. Maybe there's some high variance going on. So if you notice that your numbers are way off, you now have an opportunity to find out why the problem is happening and take corrective action. Now keep in mind, using regular cycle counts allows you to take corrective action more frequently. So for example, if you perform monthly cycle counts, you have 12 opportunities to fix a problem versus 1 when performing annual physical inventory counts. So CertiPro's automated inventory cycle count is going to configure all of this for you. An important difference between cycle counting and taking physical inventory annually: by having your warehouse staff perform cycle counts of segments of your inventory regularly, you negate the need for shutting down your operations for a weekend or a period of time just to make sure that your numbers are correct. Of course, closing down your business for any period of time is going to be costly, and paying your employees overtime to perform physical inventory counts can add up as well. So this is what our automated inventory cycle count program can help you eliminate. You can imagine your day-to-day working life being made easier just by being better organized. And when you open up Sage, you will see that we've created the software under the inventory management here in physical count. When we do the implementation and the installation, we will add this module here, which is the CPS Inventory Cycle Count Entry Program. So opening up the screen, you will see that the program is a single screen user interface. Very simple to use, very easy to manage. In the upper left-hand corner, you have your warehouses, which are identified by using a code, and you can scroll through the various warehouses with these arrows here. So each warehouse is going to have its own schedule. You can configure what time you want to generate the cycle count per warehouse, and you can set up automatic email notifications by warehouse, which I'll show you shortly. So I'm going to go ahead and select a warehouse. And as you can see, all of these, when I select the warehouse, these various grids start to populate. So the top grid up here is the filtering section. The middle grid represents the filtering choices and shows you what you have assigned into the cycle count intervals. And the bottom, this is the summary based on your setup. It basically shows you how many items per day you're going to be counting. So as I go through the filter checkboxes up here, you can see that we have it broken out by all valuations, all product types, all procurement. And by selecting or deselecting any one of these, it's going to automatically populate the items in the middle grid here. You can also, there's other filtering choices that are over here. For example, if I want to look at standard unit price and I want to take a look at items that are greater than $1,000, so I can plug in that amount here, and you can see that the middle grid populates with those associated items that are greater than $1,000. So once you filter down to the specific set of items that you want to work with, you can now go and perform your updates. So I've already selected, as you know, these items here that are showing greater than $1,000. And now I want to assign them to an inventory cycle category and define how many times I want them to be counted. So before jumping into that, I want to cover some of these abbreviations up here, or these acronyms, if you will. So YCC, as you'll see up here, stands for yearly cycle count. Upon implementation or adding an item, you're going to have a value of -1. That item is going to be associated with the -1. So that means that you have not touched those items yet. When you move them to 0, it means that you have added them to be inventoried and counted. So you can also have a number from 1 to 52, meaning that you can assign an item to be counted once a week, once a month, or whatever interval you require. And the update's very simple. So I can just click the corner here, and it's going to highlight all of the items, and I can head down to the count frequency and assign a number. So in this case, I'm going to assign all of these items to 12 times per year. Click on the sign, and you can see that that automatically populated for all those items. I can also do this line item by line item manually, or I can select multiple line items to assign a value. You also have the option, if I right-click, to export any of these items to Excel or to import any of these items to Excel. So continuing on with the explanation of RC, for example. So RC stands for remaining count. So this is another powerful tool that allows you to set up items that are going to be discontinued. So we know that some items are not going to be in your inventory perpetually. So this basically allows you to define how many more times you want that item to be counted. And once that item count expires, it's automatically going to update the YCC, or the yearly cycle count, to 0. Jumping across here, we have FCNT, which is force count next time, force count all the time, and hold. So for hold, in every warehouse, there's going to be scenarios where you will pull certain items temporarily to hold, and you don't want those items to be included in the count until the item is actually released back into inventory. So by selecting that, that's what happens there. For force count next time or force count all the time, if you find a discrepancy and you want it to be resolved as soon as possible, the item in question might be scheduled for a count 2 months from now, but let's say you don't want to wait. So by checking this box, it's going to generate the cycle count for that item. So that item will be included. So jumping up to the upper right-hand corner here, we have the scheduler. And here you will see this is where you have the option to schedule the cycle count automatically. As you will see, we're simply using the task scheduler from Sage 100. And here you can schedule what days of the week that you want to run the cycle count. Clicking on the active warehouse, this is where you will manage the warehouse if you do have multiple warehouses to either have them enabled or not. Jumping to the option screen, this is where you will manage the email notifications for the spreadsheet that I'm going to show you that gets sent to the warehouse staff for the actual counts. Now, on the left side here, we also have another powerful tool for rollover the YCC, or the yearly cycle count, from large to small. It's a very helpful option for A, B, C item rankings. So once all of the A items have been counted, it's going to start to automatically pull the B category to maintain the same number of items counted per day. Clicking on the exception days, this is where you can open up the calendar and create exceptions. These can be holidays or vacation days. So the holiday type is going to apply to all warehouses, and the vacation type is going to apply to a single warehouse. So while this is an automated process, at any given time, you do have an option to do a manual generation. And for demo purposes, I've already created this account. So, or I've already generated this count, I should say. So once a cycle count has been created, let's take a look at what is delivered via email to the assigned warehouse team, which is a spreadsheet. So they get an email and they come in and they go ahead and open up, and this is what they see. The email is going to have a CSV file that tells the staff what needs to be counted. So here you have the description, the bin location, and the last date that was counted. So if you're using Scanco or any scanner solution, this information is going to be automatically populated directly to the scanner, so they can perform the updates directly that way. Once the count's been done, this is where you will go to the physical count entry program. I'll go ahead and do this, open that up. And here is where, once the count's been done, this is where you will go ahead, put in your warehouse code, and the items that have been generated will push through to here, as you know, and then you will input the actual quantity counted. So once the count's been run, you obviously want to know the results. How accurate is the inventory? So for this reason, we have created an explorer, which is called the Inventory Cycle Count History. And this is the place where you will find the items that not only have a discrepancy, but also the items that have been counted throughout the year that have been accurate. So clicking on any one of these items, you're going to see how many items have been counted, or looking at this report, you will see how many items have been counted each day, what was the quantity counted, and additional information. So it's completely customizable. And for those users that are familiar with Explorer, you can drag and drop fields and use the filters to analyze the data. And you can also export any of this information out to Excel. So with that, I am wrapping up. I know that there may be some questions that you might have, and hopefully at the end of this presentation, we can go ahead and address any questions that come up. But feel free to reach out to me also. My email and phone number are on the screen. Thanks so much.
And Simon, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and go to our Patricia with Aps Payments. So Patricia, thank you so much.
Great. I'm from American Payment Solutions, and I'm going to be showing you very quickly today our new Click to Pay feature. So in the interest of the demo, I went ahead and started a new invoice and had it sent out through our paperless office automatically in an email. So I'm going to go ahead and step inside of what our email looks like that our customer would receive. And here we have it right here. Once we click on our email, there will be a PDF attachment right on the bottom. And if we click on our PDF attachment, we're going to go ahead and display a full invoice that's completely customizable. It's a crystal form, so it can be changed to your preferences. And right on the bottom of our invoice, we are going to include a Pay Here button. If we go ahead and click on our Pay Here button, we're going to be redirected to a secure website where once again, we're going to go ahead and display all of this invoice information for you as well as our line items. And voila, we're going to have a Make a Payment button right on the bottom. Once we click on our Make a Payment button, we will have the option to pay a full balance for the invoice, a custom amount, or coming soon, we will have the option to choose multiple invoices. So for today, I'm going to go ahead and pay my full balance. I'm going to have the option to enter a credit card number. If you do choose to turn ACH on with us, you do also have the option to pay with a bank account, as well as save a payment method into our secured vault for future use, and that just requires you to create a username and a password. Or if you already have a username and a password, you can use a previously saved payment method. So I'll go ahead and enter a brand new credit card number today. And here we go. I'm going to go ahead and submit my card. And we're going to receive a page that shows our transaction was successful. And in this page, we're going to go ahead and contain a transaction ID for it. This is as far as our customer would go with our Click to Pay. This would be the very last page that I would see. But for us, we would have the extra step of stepping back into our Sage 100 and having the ability to pull those transactions that we paid with Click to Pay. So I went ahead and stepped into my cash receipts entry, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new one here. And you're going to notice that our APS Click to Pay button is going to activate on our bottom left. Once you click on our APS Click to Pay button, it will pull all the transactions that were paid with our Click to Pay feature for that day. And if we go ahead and accept and go back to our customer, you'll notice that each of our invoices that were paid for that day will be detailed line by line, so you know which invoices it is that were paid through our Click to Pay for the day. And then after this, you would follow your standard Sage functionality and follow your typical end-of-day processes, print and updates. Something very exciting for us and something very simple that we hope will make a huge difference for everyone. We do also have a few added benefits for us, and we have them here on the screen for us. If you are interested in having a free audit done of your current processors, rates, and fees, please feel free to reach out to us. And quick and simple, Adrienne.
Thank you so much, Patricia. So can you talk a little bit about the level 3 processing and how all of that can reduce rates?
Yes, so we offer something called level 3 processing, which is basically a program that's offered by American Express and Visa to help us lower your rates. All that they require us to do is send them an extra few fields of data that we have built our integration to pull out of Sage 100 automatically for us. So for example, a typical transaction for say to your Pizza Hut will require you to enter your name, your address, your credit card information, 4 or 5 fields. However, we're going to go ahead and pull 13 to 15 fields off of your Sage software in order to submit it and for us to receive those better level 3 processing rates.
And can you talk a little bit about the guaranteed rates?
Absolutely. We do guarantee our rates to you in writing for the life of the account so that you have the security of knowing that our rates are not going to creep up on you anytime. It's a great feature that we offer.
You submit your statements and you understand to what degree you guys can reduce credit card processing fees and everything associated with credit card processing, and the customer decides they want to move forward. Can you take us just quickly through a workflow of what to expect will occur to get the customer live, how long it takes?
Absolutely. So we typically begin our process by asking you for your 3 most current merchant statements for us to analyze for you. We go ahead and submit those to an analysis team so that we're able to provide you an analysis with our proposed rates and fees. We do sit down on a quick call with you to review and show you a quick presentation of our software. If you do decide to move forward with us, there is an online application that we would have you fill out and return to us. Once we receive that application, it typically takes 3 to 5 business days for your account to get approved, and another 3 to 5 for your account to be written. And so I want to say all in all, it would take you right about 2 weeks from beginning to end for your whole process to happen.
And so when you analyze the statements, you guarantee those rates that you promise in the proposal. So it's kind of a no-brainer that they're going to be reducing their rates, and it just makes sense to move forward. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And is there any charge at all?
No, we do not charge for installation, setup, training, maintenance, or support. We make our money solely on the rate.
So it makes sense to say that, if there were other enhancements that customers were looking to purchase, like automated inventory counts or StarShip, you might be able to help with the reduced cost, purchase or acquire other enhancements that are cost-saving enhancements. Well, thank you so
Absolutely.
much, Patricia, for that.
In the center of my screen now, you should be able to see this is the actual StarShip program. So with StarShip, as I was explaining, we do have 2 interfaces, 2 integrations with Sage 100. And when I talk about those, let me just open up Sage here. We have our original StarShip link where if you're currently using shipping data entry, most certainly you can still process your orders through shipping data entry. Inside that module in Sage, we'll add a StarShip button. As a shipper, I can then click that, and then what that's going to do is take me into StarShip where I can process my shipment. And once I receive my shipping documents, StarShip, of course, can do shipping labels, but we can also do international documents, LTL documents, so bill of lading forms, so on and so forth. But once I process that shipment, it will then take me back to shipping data entry. But we also have, and what I plan on hopefully showing you today, our business object interface or direct interface. And the nice thing with the direct interface is as a shipper, I can work directly inside StarShip. So technically, I don't even need access to Sage. Just sit and process and send all my shipments right through StarShip. And as you can see here on the upper left-hand side is our source document. So StarShip can pull by sales order number, by shipment, or I should say by invoice number, or of course by customer number. These fields, for example, the sales order number field that I'm going to use as my source document, we can use just regular wedge type scanners, hook them up to your shipping machines and scan barcoded. So if I have, say, in this case, the sales order number barcoded, I can simply scan it and it'll automatically pull in that data. I can manually type it in, and we also have a lookup feature here where I can click a magnifying glass. StarShip will show me all the orders that I have inside of Sage. I can start applying filters from there. But the nice thing with that magnifying glass, you can also get into batch processing your shipment. So, if we have our weights all set up and maybe we're doing one item, one box, great feature is to do that batch processing where I can select as many orders as I'd like, click a button, and what StarShip's going to do is just start generating all the shipping documents for all those orders. And of course, this machine is going to be a little slow, so bear with me. Really what StarShip's doing, we're mapping data from Sage, kind of looking at their tables, their fields, and pulling in data. We will map in order header as well as the line item detail information from the order. These map fields can have a one-to-many relationship, so we are going to pull in, all the order information. Of course, Sage is opening up now. Come on. As well as the line item detail. So let me go back here. With the map fields, they can have a one-to-many relationship. So for example, just based off your ship vias inside the orders, that's automatically going to tell StarShip, hey, what carrier, what service, what billing type to use. StarShip is multi-carrier, multi-mode, so it knows, hey, I'm shipping a parcel shipment, or I'm even shipping a freight or LTL shipment. So here on that shipment tab, as you can see, automatically selected carrier, service, billing type. Anyone doing third-party or collect shipments we can most certainly automate that whole process. I know a lot of times people, I work with clients and they say, oh yeah, we do a lot of third party, and we put a comment line and say, hey, make sure you ship on customer's account 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice thing with StarShip, we can automate that whole process, change it to collect or third party, and automatically pull in account information. Okay. The sender, of course, that's the company that we are pulling the order from inside of Sage. StarShip does support multiple companies as well as warehouses and or locations. And the recipient address here, of course, that's the ship to from that order. StarShip will also do address validation. We validate ZIP+4, and we also will validate the commercial residential flag. Okay, so going to help save on address correction fees as well as the commercial residential flag correction fees. Down below in the packaging view, this is where we can get into the item to box detail. So item to box detail inside StarShip, not required, but if you have a large order and maybe 10 boxes, 100 line items, I don't want my shipper to have to put an item in each box. With StarShip, you do not have to. Also, what's going on here with this business object interface, we can have StarShip automatically learn, or you can manually set up what we call packaging scenarios. So in this case, StarShip knows I'm shipping this solenoid. Every time it ships, it goes into a large box. So StarShip has automatically packaged it for me. My remaining items are just coming into a default box. I just have called custom box. And again, if I wanted to add a box, I can come over here and add one box at a time. We also have a repeat box function where I can tell StarShip, hey, I need 10 boxes, and it would automatically give me 10 boxes. From there, to move items, it's simply drag and drop. I can drag and drop. I can hold down shift, select multiple items. I can also hold down the control key to split quantities. So 2 in one box, 2 in a second box. We most certainly handle that. Units on shipment. If I allow my shippers to back order at time of shipment, I can simply change this, and maybe I'm only shipping one of these. I can ship only one. And with this interface, StarShip is automatically going to create an invoice inside of Sage. So it will automatically back order that invoice. And of course, from there, the sales order will be back ordered. The large box, this is part of StarShip. We have a database where you can set up and store custom boxes. It could be bags, pallets, bales, what have you. But nice thing with using the custom boxes is it will, once they're set up, automatically populate the dimensions for your shippers. Nowadays, dim weight's a big deal. Down below here, my system, I don't have a scale hooked up. We integrate with a lot of scales. So I'm just pulling the weights from inside of Sage. But as you can see, here's my actual weight, but then there's build weight. So we are also taking into consideration the dimensional weight. Okay, so this is also going to help save on dimensional weight correction fees, anything like that. So my bill weight's 5 pounds, but the actual dimensional weight is 21 pounds. Line item details, StarShip also has a database for your line item details. We do this because inside Sage, they a lot of times don't have spots for like NMFC codes, freight class, international data. If you happen to have this information living inside of Sage, maybe in a user-defined field, we can actually change mappings and pull data from different user-defined fields, again, if it is set up inside of Sage. Here, for example, international data, this is an international shipment. So inside StarShip, I can actually store all that required in international data. So we even have a lookup for the Schedule B or the harmonized commodity code. So if this was missing, I could look it up right at time of shipment. Once I fill out this information, I click OK and I ship this. StarShip will automatically save that for next time. So really name the game of StarShip, streamlining the shipping, less clicks, less things our shippers have to manually fill out. Okay. So that's the line item detail. Next up, usually what we'll do is then rate shop. So to rate shop, I can either click the green dollar icon or go to the rate shop tab. So StarShip, we currently have about 26 different integrations with different carriers. What we're doing is a live call. So we're using the carrier's API or web services and sending them your account information. So of course, StarShip's going to return your live negotiated rates that you have with those carriers. We also can see list rates if we'd like, but as you can see here, I have UPS and FedEx set up. Again, we do have about 26 different carriers, 3PL companies, LTL carriers. And so here, this is with my system, UPS, FedEx set up. I can see the estimated delivery. I can change this, maybe do by total days, estimated delivery, business days. And again, I can go by contract or by list. StarShip, we can also get into automating this whole rating process. We have ship rules where we can say, hey, you know what, StarShip, you automatically rate shop this shipment and select the carrier and or service, you know, maybe for example, that's the least expensive or least amount of delivery days. So we can also automate that whole rating process for your shippers as well. I'm just going to jump over to the charges tab. To actually process a shipment, do not have to select this, but I just like to show this because with StarShip, you can also set up what we call freight rules. So as you can see here, I have one. It's giving this customer a 10% discount. The trigger or the criteria for this rule is I'm actually looking at a user-defined field that's set up in customer maintenance. It's just called freight discount. It's simply a checkbox. So here it is. It's selected yes. So this customer is receiving a 10% discount. Freight rules, they can be percentages, min, max, flat rates. You know, maybe you want to add additional handling fee. And these triggers, like I said, we can use user-defined fields. We can say, hey, by customer. They can go all the way down to line item detail, where I can say, hey, anytime item 1, 2, 3, 4 is on an order, automatically add $20. Maybe because we have to add extra bubble wrap or extra packaging material. All right. Next step then, when I'm ready to actually ship and process, I can click the ship and process button or the F5 key. But as soon as I do this, of course, I will receive my shipping documents. We do also allow you to save shipments. Maybe you're staging one, you know, it's not quite ready to go, but I want to start processing it. I can do that, save it, and then come back and actually ship and process it at a later time. Again, once we click ship and process, my system, again, is a backup. I'm running this on my laptop, so not a prime example of how StarShip should be running. So this is running a little slow, but click ship and process. I am going to receive my shipping documents, and that, again, is packing list, shipping label. In this case, it's an international shipment, so I can have StarShip generate NAFTA forms, shipper's letter of instructions, commercial invoices. And with StarShip's documents, they can be customized, very easy to customize our documents. And then you can also assign printing rules for each document. So for example, you know, maybe customer ABC needs the packing list to look a little bit different. You can create a template for that customer and then just assign a printing rule that says, hey, anytime that shipment is for customer ABC, only print these sets of documents. But also what's happening is not only are we connecting to the carrier, most of the carriers, especially UPS, FedEx, do support electronic tendering or electronic pickup. So it is letting them know that you have something ready to be picked up. That's usually helpful with the LTL carriers because usually you'd have to call them to let them know, but StarShip would automatically do that. So here, excuse me, I'm previewing this, and I'm also using what we call our smart label. As you can see, the smart label will print a shipping label and a packing list together. So this would need to go to a laser printer. But of course, you can send your shipping labels to a thermal printer. With the packing list, if you want, you can also send that to a thermal printer, or you can even just send it to a laser printer. So that's up to you. So package 1, box 2 here, same label. And then, like I mentioned, we should, because this is international, we have our commercial invoice. And again, StarShip can do bill lading forms, pallet labels, so on and so forth. But order header, line item detail is automatically going to populate on the documents. And then like this one, I modified it so it's already signed and dated. Again, one less thing my shipper has to stop and worry about filling out. And then, of course, that NAFTA form, and same thing. I just modified this one, so those kind of standard fields down below, information automatically populates in them. Okay. So ship and process. Now, as a shipper, I'm in that rinse repeat cycle. I'm going to receive my shipping documents for that one shipment, stick them on the box, throw them inside the box, and then I'm just going to move on to my next source and scan my next or type in my next sales order. And I'll quickly just jump back into Sage here, and we'll put on a different hat, and let me go into invoice data entry. So as I mentioned earlier, with the direct or business object interface, StarShip is automatically going to create the invoice inside of Sage. Okay, really just going to create it. We don't update them or anything like that. So that's the whole process of someone printing and posting them that still has to take place. But here, as you can see, the sales order 222 is the one we just shipped. Here's the invoice. On the header tab, I'm going to go to my tracking button. StarShip writes back all the tracking information into Sage's tracking tables. So I can even use their shortcut buttons to track, or Or again, item to box detail. I can see what was in each package. And then on the totals tab, we are going to write back freight amounts. So this freight amount, that's the standard freight amount Sage field. So this is writing back plus or minus any freight rules if we have them set up. We can also with StarShip set up write back rules. So if there's some scenarios where we do not want to write back freight, most certainly we can set up rules that say, hey, don't write back the freight. Maybe it's already filled out. We already charged it, so don't override it. Underneath that, this is actually this freight cost from StarShip. This is a user-defined field that I set up. Working with a lot of clients, they always want to know what their cost for the shipment. So in this case, what UPS is going to charge me. So with a user-defined field, another advantage of that business object interface is I can take additional shipping information and pass it back into user-defined fields. So here, I'm simply looking, oh, this one is going to cost us $184. We're only charging them $165. Yeah, they received a discount. Nope, it should be $190. So you can always also manually override that freight amount field. Okay, and of course I didn't have time to open up and show you, but we also, with StarShip included is our e-notification program. So with e-notify, you can design your own custom templates, put your company logo on an email to let the customer know, hey, your shipment's on its way. You can give them item to box breakdown. These are very easy to create. Of course, it's going to have the tracking numbers, package 1, here's your hyperlink tracking number. With the templates, just like the printing rules, you can also do emailing rules. So, yep, again, customer ABC, we need them to have this template that looks a little different. Or maybe I want to add a promo code. You can always add promo codes, hyperlink the promo code, get the customer right back to your website. But maybe, we want to give certain customers a discount. Again, we can do emailing rules and have that template only go to those certain customers. And then also with StarShip, of course, we have our dashboard program. So with dashboard, really just a reporting tool. It's going to give front office access to all the shipment information. I can track from dashboard. We have a bunch of canned reports that live inside a dashboard. A couple I'll mention, a late delivery report. I simply run that report. It's going to go out, look at all my shipments. It's going to compare the guaranteed delivery date to the actual delivery date. So it's going to let you know of any shipment that wasn't delivered on time. So you can contact the carrier, try to get a refund. And we also have a charge comparison report. And that report, a lot of our clients run that because it's going to show you all your shipments. It's going to have a column and it's going to show the applied amount. So again, that's what I charge the customer for the shipment. And then it's going to compare it to my contract rate. And then the third column, of course, is the plus or minus. So quick report you can run, make sure you're not losing money on your shipments. So dashboard, e-notify, they do not require any additional seats or licenses and can be installed on as many workstations as you'd like. And inside of Sage, I showed you that rate shopping. I'll quickly mention this inside of StarShip, but with StarShip and the Sage 100 integration, we will add a rate shop button inside of sales order entry. So it's going to do that same thing that I showed you inside of StarShip, but now my front office, at time of order, I can actually rate shop this order. Okay. Okay, I think that's really what I want to show everyone. Again, I apologize for the delay and my, of course, Murphy's Law, my machine went down, but again, any questions, please feel free to reach out and contact me.
We really do appreciate you spending your time with us. We hope to see you on our next webinar. And everybody, just have a great day. Thanks so much. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.